You're listening to the Downshift podcast, where four mates from Melbourne take you trackside for all the action in Formula One, breaking down the races, the drama, and everything in between, all with a little banter and a lot of passion. If you love motorsport and cars, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you're always on the grid with us. And if you want to support the team, leave us a 5-star review so we know how we are doing and what you want to hear more of. So let's get into another action-packed episode. It's lights out, drop the clutch, and let's get racing. And welcome to the Downshift podcast. As we head towards a non-race weekend, we're going to have a look at the two new entries for 2026 with Cadillac and Audi joining the Formula One fray. Audi being the purchaser of Kick Sauber and Cadillac being the new entry that's coming in from the US. We're seeing that Cadillac has made a massive investment into Formula One, having to pay the entry fee, which was initially agreed between the 10 race teams as it being $200 million as an anti-dilution fee. But GM have actually invested $450 million to be split evenly between the 10 teams. So we may as well start off with that. So Happy, you were just saying before we jumped in, what a massive investment for GM.
Yeah, $450 million, nearly $500 million just to get a ticket to enter a car or two. So huge amount of money, but I can see why the existing teams didn't want to dilute the prize pool anymore. Like Formula One is now a massive sport with billions of dollars in revenue, a lot of prize money at stake. So I guess GM had to fork out that number, but $45 million extra per team was obviously deemed to be enough, but for the bigger teams who have budgets of $300 to $400 million, that's it's only 10% to them. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they go. And it's just not only the $450 million though. To build their engine program and hire the staff and build their facilities, it's a phenomenal investment to get into this sport.
It is, but when you look at it, I mean, Ferrari's valued at $4.8 billion, Mercedes is valued at almost $4 billion, Red Bull's valued at $3.5 billion, even Alpine's $1.5 billion mid-pack, and the worst team in there at the minute is Haas, and they're still rated at $1 billion. So even if they throw $450 million at it, when they start that team, at worst case scenario, you reckon it's still have to be worth $1 billion. So
you
they potentially can double their money by entering into the sport.
You would hope so. Like it's an expensive franchise sort of thing to get into. And the idea is that over time, F1 grows, you contribute to it, the prize pool grows, and the value of your team grows. At the end of the day, they still have to get results. So it's a big gamble, to build facilities in the US and not Europe. There's challenges with that. We were talking about some of those just before we hopped onto the pod, and pretty big challenges, I think.
I mean, they're going to get all eyes on them for the first, at least probably 6 months of, when they're talking about getting sponsors on board to be, branding on the car and stuff, like they're going to get a lot of press, a lot of exposure, a lot of interest in them. And even when it comes to drivers, there's going to be a lot of press.
Yeah. But they'd want to hit the ground running. Like you might get some decent sponsors for year one because you're the new entry and you're going to get a lot of media and so on. But you don't want to be running around 2 seconds off the pack because it's going to make year two pretty bloody difficult.
Yeah. And some unhappy sponsors as well.
They're not getting into this for as a 3 or 4 year program. Surely they're looking at sort of a 10-year plus horizon for this. So I think that's the way they've got to treat it.
Well, if you look at it, I mean, this is where Cadillac are strong and in IMSA with WEC, and for anyone listening to the podcast, I highly recommend jumping onto the Cadillac website. They've actually got a video that they did in regards to their World Endurance Championship campaign. Really interesting show to watch. It's not the typical American rah-rah and, how amazing we are. It was actually quite a humble approach to their program in regards to developing that. And they're obviously now bringing this to Formula One. To your point on sponsors, Lockie, is this is the first true American team. I know Haas is an American team, but they've got their facilities in the UK, so in the typical belt where all the manufacturers are. We've got Cadillac, who's setting up their brand new facility in Fishers, Indiana. And while they're going to start with the Ferrari power unit in 2026, they're planning to be a PU developer in 2029, and they're investing $150 million into a facility which is going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina. So massive investment and commitment to this program.
Huge, and a big challenge for them. Like the WEC documentary was really good. I actually watched it. It was about an hour long, so it's not a really long watch, but they were successful in that. They took it to Ferrari, they took it to the other top teams, and did really, really well. But F1 is just leaps and bounds above that in terms of the tech and the detail and car development and aero especially. So, and to build an engine unit, a power unit from scratch is no easy task. So hopefully they do well. It'll be a big challenge for an American team to do it. You know, they're not going to be able to attract all the existing talent from that talent pool in the UK and Europe who've been working in Formula One for decades. So they're obviously going to want to hire a lot of American staff. So yeah, there might be a bit of some skills that people need to improve on, some heavy learnings, I guess, but massive investment. So, you know, if they spend their money well and they hire well, then hopefully they do well.
When they use the power units from Ferrari, do they get some strategic support as well?
I'm sure that's not included.
So no, that's okay. No, we'll do it ourselves. That's
when
okay.
they're filling out the
you.
form, it says, "Would you like some assistance from us?" Tick here.
Would you like to subscribe to our strategy newsletter?
Yeah. Okay, if they call them down, they'll get back to them shortly. It'll be fine.
I'll just go to have a cup of tea and they'll let them know.
It's a smart plan though to go with Ferrari engines first, because they'll have a real benchmark to use when they're developing their own power unit. So they're not going to want to launch their own power unit in 2029 unless they're matching or exceeding the spec of the Ferrari engines that they buy from Ferrari. So that's a good strategic move. So they're obviously doing this the right way. They're not going in with GM power units from day one, because the thing will probably run around like a tractor compared to everyone else. But they'll be good.
They will tear that sucker down.
Or do a V10 if Ben Silliman has his way.
No, that won't happen.
Not going to happen.
Move on. Let it go, Christian. Let it go.
Mohammed Ben Sulayem will be out before a V10 comes back in, I can guarantee.
Yeah, hanging on to that V10 like Ben Sulayem is trying to hug all the drivers, aren't you?
Yeah, no.
When they get out of the car.
Oh, I tell you, look, the poor guy, he just wants a bit of love. There's none to be found.
He was that awkward friend that's just like, nah, mate.
If he adds me on Facebook, I'll accept him, just to let you know.
That's right.
So there's obviously the need for drivers now. There's a few rumours out there, and obviously Sergio Perez is leading the rumour mill in regards to this. But we've got Colton Herta, who's an IndyCar star with Andretti Global, and the Cadillac campaign started with Murray Andretti as a joint pitch to F1. Valtteri Bottas, who's currently the Mercedes reserve driver. There's rumours of Zhou Guanyu, who's now the Ferrari reserve driver, and Felipe Drugovich, who's the reserve driver for Aston Martin. So thoughts in regards to that lineup or any others?
Perez sounds like the no-brainer to me, and probably Colton Herta to back him up. I would think that would be the likely way that they would go. Drugovich or someone out of F2 maybe down the track, but I think from day one they want experienced drivers. So someone like a Perez who is there, is active, was doing very well, So I think all of the drama that we've seen with Liam Lawson and Yuki not being able to match Max in that car has just improved Sergio Perez's odds immensely to get that Cadillac seat. And Colton Herta is, he's been rumoured to be involved in this for some time. So they would be the two that I would think would get in.
And that whole
You'd
thing
have
with
to
Red
assume
Bull,
either Perez or Bottas
going to come across with sponsors already on his back and experience in his corner.
Yeah, exactly. And developing a car, he's been in a top team like Bottas has. Valtteri would be another option for them, but Yeah, I don't know. The smart money seems to be on Perez, but yeah, he's definitely got some financial backing that he could bring to the table as well.
And that's the big point is we're talking dollars here. And Perez, that was one of the big attractions and probably one of the big challenges for Red Bull was the money that was going to go away with Perez leaving the team. So he's got some strong Mexican backers who are going to put some support there behind the team. And the team wants to have an American in the seat as well. So that's where Colton is leading that charge. He's been with the Andretti group when they were originally putting it forward. The Andretti group has stepped back as to allow this to be successful for F1. I don't know what's going on there, but there's obviously something where F1 weren't wanting to work with Andretti on this. And so you'll see those US sponsors, and so there's a lot of dollars in the US which will get behind a full US team.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I think it'd be unlikely for Joe Guan Yu to get there, even if he did have a bucket load of money. And I think they just want to go with experience. So I think that'll be the lineup.
Tesla might sponsor them.
Not with their tech in sales.
Here's a response for you.
Too soon.
Dead cold silence.
Well, I was wondering if
they're going to go with an
Mexican,
American driver because of the fact that they're trying to break the American market open. They're trying to get more Americans involved. You have to have an American driver in that team for them to get behind. They're not going to get behind, and no offense, but Chinese or an Australian or something like that. The way they'd get behind an American, they'll be 100% behind him if they can get a seat. Now, whether he's the second driver doesn't matter, but if they can put him in there, they'll be star-spangled banger all over him like that. They'll go nuts for it.
Yep. Huge crowds at American races.
Can you really see an American team entering the pinnacle of world motorsport hiring a Chinese driver at the moment?
Not if Trump has anything to do with it.
Yeah, that's my point. I think from a political point of view, it'll be unlikely.
Well, I was thinking even a Mexican driver is probably going to be touch and go, isn't it?
No, it's a lot closer than China.
Be all right.
And the other point is with this entry, and I know Cadillac have been downplaying it, but is this also the potential for them to look at the Triple Crown? So they're in WEC, so Le Mans, they're in regards to their in IMSA, which again for the 500. Now we add F1 and Monaco, which is the third crown potentially. There's an opportunity where they'll take it to McLaren, who's been the only team to ever win the Triple Crown.
To be fair, it might take them a couple of years to get there. I don't think they'll do it on their first try.
So that allows to obviously dug into Cadillac, and so while they were meant to be doing a lot more of a reveal at Miami, unfortunately we didn't see a lot apart from a little bit of a press conference or an event where there's a bunch of supporters out the front yelling out Checo's name. Essentially, they released a promotional video with the Cadillac tagline, bold, innovative, relentless. We then move on to Audi, who is the new owner of State Kick Sauber, having taken over the team for 2026. Lockie, we're seeing the two drivers from Sauber being brought across. Do you want to take us into the start of that?
Yeah, look, I must admit I'm more excited about Audi coming over than I am Cadillac because I do like Audi as a brand. So, and I'll be interested to see what livery they put out there because they could be quite bold with the way it goes. But yeah, bring it over. I mean, bringing over Hulkenberg and Bortoleto, I think will be a good thing once they actually get a car that could be competitive. At the minute, the car they're driving, they're going to be 16th, 17th, 18th every time they get out on the track at the moment. But I'd like to see what both of those can do with a car that could actually challenge, mid to upper packs. Not saying they'll get it to the top in the first couple of years, but it'd be really interesting to see what those two drivers can do with a car with a bit more cash behind it and a bit more preparation done on it.
What are they doing in terms of engine?
So they will be an engine manufacturer. So they're coming straight into the championship as their own engine provider. And so therefore, Audi having that racing pedigree, they've already got a lot of works in the background in regards to that. But yeah, so they'll be delivering their own power unit for the vehicle.
It'd be kind of interesting to see the difference between Cadillac adopting a Ferrari engine and then Audi bringing out their own engine in the new regs. The new regs will be interesting for everyone to see how everyone sort of tackles the new regulations to build a power plant or a power unit. So Yeah, it'll be interesting stuff next year.
Especially with the adjustment of those 3 electrical units they've got to have as well.
And that really puts the kibosh on, and you know, I know we were joking about the V10 before, but there was the talk of V10 and the talk of bring V10 earlier. It wasn't going to happen because Audi as a works team have committed to the program based on the new PU regulations. So they're not going to go and invest all the money and get into F1 only just to then be told, oh, we're now going to go to V10s. It's just not going to happen.
Are any of Audi's other formats going to be giving them sort of the edge on the new power units for F1, or is it not
They've
really
done a lot of development when they were
transferable?
doing Dakar with those hybrid type engines. Their Dakar unit was the fastest thing on Dakar. Nothing could catch it on the straights, and they actually had to limit what it could do. And all that was the same. I mean, it's not the same as F1 technology, but that hybrid technology that they developed for that car was cutting edge.
They've had racing programs for many, many, many years and an engine development for them. So I think they're pretty solid when it comes to engine building. Formula One is just a different spec. It's a bespoke engine, it's bespoke technology. So, you know, everyone's going to have the same issues. And like Lachlan mentioned, you know, some teething problems when it comes to deployment of power and how it's going to work in the new regulations. But all the teams are going to be going through the same thing there. So, yeah, a little bit riskier for them to run their own engine from day one. Like, you know, they're not going with a proven product from someone else. But, you know, Ferrari's engine's going to be brand new next season. Red Bull's engine's going to be they're all going to be brand new next season anyway. So, yeah, we'll see what happens when they roll out and test
The
it.
thing is, if Ferrari get the engine wrong, then Cadillac's going down the tube with them, isn't it? Not down the tube, but, you know, Cadillac is going to have a hard season right alongside them.
No, and like we've seen before with Red Bull and Renault and so on, it can create huge friction, you know, with the team and engine supplier if things aren't going well.
Just imagine how many power unit failures we're going to have for the start of next season on the track and just nothing.
But it creates action. Oh, I just want to see a few engines blow up. It would be great.
Well, you had to look at it. I mean, this weekend he was driving down the straight, or was it Bortoletto, or who had the power unit failure? Behrman.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, a couple of sparks out the back, and he goes, wait, I've lost everything.
Flames.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was a Batmobile.
When you see sparks and flames coming out the exhaust, you know something's really let go.
And I like the Batmobile down. That's not a good sign for an F1.
Which is it's not that common anymore. Like the whole, you know, these regulations, it's all pretty mature. Like the engines are pretty reliable, but occasionally they let go.
So we're seeing some familiar faces come into the leadership team at Audi. Hot off the press was Adam Baker has, sorry, what were the words that they used, Lockie?
Mutually agreed to part ways.
So as the CEO for Audi F1 Racing, with Christian Foyer taking over his duties on the engine side. So Christian comes from a number of teams within F1 with background in operations and project management. We've got Mattia Binotto, the ex-Ferrari team principal, as the chief operating and technical officer.
And strategist.
Jonathan Wheatley from Red Bull joining the team. So, and Jonathan has actually moved to Zurich or Hinwil, where the headquarters is based. So, we're just listening to an interview in regards to him talking about that, and so that remaining as the centre headquarters for the team. They are setting up a new facility in the UK, which he described as an onboarding premises, so that they are able to access some of the skills and talent that are in the F1 community, but hopefully then being able to bring them across to Europe. So, so an interesting approach there. And so we've got some, Ferrari, Red Bull in there as well, and we're seeing some other expertise from Audi's motorsport experience, Le Mans, Formula E, Dakar, to what Lockie had mentioned, some really good expertise that coming across. In regards to the drivers, they will carry over the drivers from this year. So Nico Hülkenberg will join as the German seat for the drive, and Gabriel Bortoletto will also be coming across for the 2026 campaign. So thoughts there in regards to the two drivers? Schwags.
At least they've got some experience and know what they're doing. I mean, they've not had great cars so far. So, but yeah, I think that's the thing with, even Cadillac. They just need drivers that know how to drive the tracks in an F1 car, and even the quirks that come with driving that format compared to other formats, and knowing all the other drivers as well, and because probably a new team like that's going to get not pushed around, but if you don't sort of stand your ground and get going, you'll get pushed around by a few of the other teams who have got smart racing styles and aggressive racing styles, perhaps. So yeah, you probably want a few bit of experience in there.
So I've got a question for the team then. So should we be concerned, based on the fact that Ferrari's now sponsored by HP, that their livery is horrible, that Audi's first major sponsorship is BP? Does that mean the car's going to be green?
Let's hope not.
I was thinking of you, Lockie, in regards to your love of the Kick Sauber livery, that at least it's going to bring back some of that green through to the look of the car.
BP green's not very nice colour, though.
Well, green and gold. Have a green and gold car.
Well,
on a red and black Audi.
Yeah, I don't know. Especially if that same livery we had for Miami turns up, that won't be pretty at all. So that's my biggest. I mean, it's a big concern for me, but it's not going to help the car go round. So. Yeah.
It all depends on sponsors. We'll see what they do. But the benefit for Audi is that it's, they're taking over an existing team. So you've got your existing drivers, all the existing personnel. Everyone knows each other. You've got systems and processes in place. It's going to be much smoother for them than Cadillac starting up fresh.
So with the slogan,
Vorsprung durch Technik.
So advancement through technology or progress through technology. So we're seeing that Audi, again, this is where their mandate or their DNA is that they bring what they develop on the racetrack through to their vehicles. So now being the pinnacle of F1, bringing that across into the vehicles that they're selling through the showrooms.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, should be very good. Should be very good. So with that, again, non-race weekend this weekend, so everyone can take a weekend off and do everything, and especially for us, we can get some sleep until next week. We'll do a little bit of a review of the season so far, now that we're a quarter of the way through, so 6 races in, to see who's leading, who's performing well, what we're thinking of the teams. Happy may want to call it already in regards to who's won the championship. And then what we'll do is we'll do a preview of Imola as we get ready for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. So until then, we'll see you on the next lap. And that's the checkered flag for this episode of The Downshift. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us in the paddock. If you enjoyed the ride, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss a lap. And hey, if we've earned it, drop us a 5-star review. It really helps us climb the grid and reach more motorsport fans. Tune in next time as we keep pushing flat out to bring you fresh, current and entertaining content. Until next time, keep it fast, keep it fun, and we'll catch you on the next lap.